have not seen many of these. Good stuff.
TF2 is old. True as that may be, it often feels like it's thrown out as a pejorative, a strike against the game. On occasion, I'll see some disgruntled individual ramble on about spaghetti code, dwindling player base, relentless bots, Valve abandoning the game, and more recently some questionable low-effort updates. TF2 is dying or dead. That's their narrative. But I think when one takes a look at what this community has going on, it becomes clear that this notion is bullshit. Say what you will about the state of TF2 compared to its younger years, and say what you will about the community's assets. I have my own criticisms and concerns about where TF2 is, but that isn't what this video is about. Because the fact of the matter is, we have had all sorts of amazing community projects going on throughout 2020. From creative Gmod and SFM projects, an incredible animation homage to Kitty0706, and the return of several prominent YouTubers from hiatuses, to the ongoing TF2 competitive leagues, and community efforts like creators.tf to establish bot-free pubs, or mods like TF2 Classic creating new ways for players to enjoy the game. Furthermore, the game's player count for November is about 70k, which is comparable to the game's earlier years. Frankly, it's obvious that TF2 isn't dying. We know that the game's doing well, really. Some just need to be reminded. This is just my attempt to show this to those who don't know this fact. So, here's what I believe keeps people playing TF2. Let's start off discussing what we should always start with when talking about why we play games: the gameplay. Nobody can deny that TF2 is a unique gameplay experience. Although class-based shooters were not unheard of before its release, it has been one of the most successful of them in history. Copycat games have almost all failed, and in spite of those that have succeeded, TF2 has carried on. There's clearly something about its gameplay that's just right. Some key aspects that the game nailed down that has kept it alive for so many years and will likely keep it alive as a classic for years to come. What is it that TF2 nails? Many videos have covered this topic, so I won't spend too much time on it, but I would like to generally outline the qualities of TF2's gameplay that make it so unique, and that is the combination of its arena-esque movement shooter aspects and class and team dynamics. What I mean by the former is the gameplay's combination of physics-based movement, such as explosive jumping and air strafing, with combat that largely rewards deathmatch and aim skills over counterpicking or rock-paper-scissors gameplay. The latter is referring to the game having unique gameplay styles in the form of its 9 classes, the dynamics their abilities create in terms of team composition, and how different situations and enemy team compositions require different playstyles. These qualities, to some extent, promote opposite styles of gameplay. One focuses on an individual's abilities, while the other promotes cooperation and synergy with teammates. But that's exactly the beauty of TF2's gameplay. It's a game where both individual plays and good teamwork are necessary to play well, and both are rewarding experiences. Something quite like this hasn't been seen since. Movement shooters tend to emphasize individual play more than teamwork, while class-based shooters tend to lack a sense of individual impact or mechanical depth to combat. But of course, the fun in TF2 isn't just its rewarding skill-based gameplay. Hell, most players never experience the game in a structured environment. What's the appeal to them? I'll tell you what. The craziness. These sorts of moments highlight the beautiful stupidity and unpredictability of TF2's gameplay. Casual servers, with their complete lack of restrictions, large player count, and variance in player skill levels, create the perfect setting for comical and ridiculous scenarios, which are made even funnier by the character voice lines, poses, and facial expressions. And that's a good segue into the next aspect of TF2 that I think keeps players around. Its character design and art style. The game's art style, although somewhat, its fundamental cartoon style is quite unique and serves the gameplay well in terms of creating recognizable silhouettes and players that are distinct from their environments. Many videos have discussed the topic. In fact, the art, character personalities, and playstyles of each class synchronize in clever ways. Scout's annoying and cocky personality and his lithe body ties with his get-up-in-your-face and fast-moving gameplay.
Yeah, it's a freaking bat magnet!
Heavy's simple but threatening voice lines
Entire team is babies!
and massive body represents his more simple but tanky and high DPS playstyle well. Even some of the overarching gameplay themes of TF2, its scrappy fights, weird weapons, and silly moments, are captured by how non-serious the characters are. Of course, this idea isn't unique to TF2, but it's executed well. One of the reasons it works so well is because of the media outside of TF2 that constructs TF2's characters and lore. From the SFMs to the comics, basically all of the official media for TF2 about the Mercs has been entertaining and well made. The classes are portrayed humorously with how ridiculous they act, but they are given interesting stories and backgrounds so that they are worth investing in story-wise. That's why the comics have been so successful and why the SFMs are always well received regardless of the updates tied to them. Witty lines and intriguing characters. But perhaps one of the most important things about TF2's characters is how the players are capable of using them and interacting with them. That is to say, players being given access to all sorts of voice lines and unique taunts on command allows them to express the characters they play and even manipulate the characters, seen in age-old memes like and
Pain is cupcake!
to create new personalities. And content creators are further empowered to create whole new animations using all of TF2's assets, thanks to Source Filmmaker being a free and relatively easy-to-use animation tool, as well as Valve allowing creators to use these characters without any worries about copyright claims against them. So many incredible animations have come out, from dramas to absurdist comedies, with some creating stories based off of the Mercs' personalities, and others creating new characters from the assets. Players being able to play the part as the Mercs, and content creators giving their own spin on them, has led to the formation of a culture surrounding TF2's characters, from Note.avi to Heavy is Dead and all that's in between, with the rather uniquely popular presence of friendlies on servers, and with all the different memes referencing TF2. The game has been able to cultivate a, well, cult following, and the community has been a key to driving that. That brings me to what are likely the most important assets of TF2, and the main point of my video, the many ongoing community projects that TF2 has going for it. These efforts are a huge part of how people find, enjoy, and continue to play the game, being perhaps the most significant reason that they do. First, and what is perhaps a lesser known but still significant and growing part of TF2's community, its competitive scene. Nearly as old as the game itself, competitive TF2 has been essentially 100% community driven for its entire existence. Today, two big regional leagues continue to be run, the long-standing European TF2 League and the relatively newer North American League, RGL. All of these leagues feature a 6v6 competitive format, which shows off TF2's mechanical depths through a community-curated map pool of 5CP and King of the Hill, item whitelist, and rule set. RGL and ETF2L also offer Highlander Leagues, a 9v9 format with one of every class and a variety of map types. And RGL provides a 7v7 format with a one-person class limit known as Prolander. Top-level players from most of these leagues are streamed on Twitch through Essentials.tf, Team Fortress TV, and RGL. Besides competitive leagues, there are also community-run pickup game lobbies for these competitive formats, with RGL working on creating a new PUG site for all of the formats they support. All of this to say, whatever class you play, whether you want to commit to a team or simply lobby up with friends and strangers to enjoy a quick round of organized, fast-paced, skill-intensive TF2, there is a place for you to do that. And speaking from my experience with watching and playing in the competitive scene, it is incredibly rewarding. I don't think one can truly appreciate the mechanics and overall balance and flow of TF2 without at least watching some high-level competitive matches. And to those who think the game isn't meant for competitive play, I implore you to watch this.
He's incredibly low actually. He's brought down now, he's got an arrow, so he's going to go back up to full. And goes in for a big bomb, tries to get up to Cookie Jake. He's actually going to be able to get it. He does get the frag. This is a convincing mid from 7, and it's going to be banned. He's going to be on the point, and it's going to be just Yomps left alive before it gets cleaned up.
Now that Seven's been able to sit back and last for a while, and Paddy goes down to the double dom, and the crit is coming out from Badonsky.
He's looking for anything, something, but it's Cadis doing all the work during that crit. He's picked up 3 players, 4! Cadis, are you kidding me? He's fully decimating this team. This is vintage Cadis. Will he find Jersey 2 with the bottle? You better believe it. Cadis, are you kidding me?
That is vintage Cadis. That's what I've been expecting to see out of him this land.
A lot more pressure on him there. The time for him to get a shot is going to be so much lower. And there we go, instant spoon.
No demo alive for the mid-fight is not something you want to see. It's a lot on Slim to be able to see if he can get another kill here with bot mode going down. Paddy is going to die though. Nice snipes. This is what you need to see if your demo's going to die immediately in the mid, but there's only 3 people left alive.
This could be it. This could be the moment. This could be over. Tiger does try and do his best to distract the attention. He does do a good job doing so, but Stark is going to be cut off by the Stickers in forward spawn. There's no point play present for from Fryotech. They are now going to just clean up the prize. They're going to play the point. And the speed does dive onto it. Cookie Jake. Cap it. Fryotech game. We ain't no bars here. Everyone give them a round of applause. They give us the final that we wanted anyway. They won it convincingly.
These clips were taken from various LAN tournaments throughout TF2's history. In-person tournaments run and funded by the community, featuring some of the best players from all over the world. The culmination of TF2's unique, deep, and rewarding gameplay, when given a structured environment, put on display, live. There have been many legendary LANs, with the most recent series being the Insomnia series, Copenhagen Games, and RGB LAN, with RGL planning to host a LAN of its own for North America sometime in the future. Such events have driven players to strive to improve for a shot at having the glory of being a national and international champion. Another set of important community-driven projects, especially today, is the variety of community servers in TF2. From moderated pubs to custom game modes, there are all sorts of groups hosting all sorts of servers for one to choose from. There are entire sub-communities based around these game modes. Jump map servers have groups based around teaching players how to rocket and sticky jump and speedrunning community-created maps. MGE mod servers allow players to practice their deathmatch skills and compete against other players in 1v1 settings. Trade and idle servers that nowadays act as places to hang out with other regulars. A myriad of player-created game types such as Freak Fortress 2, Death Run, Zombie Survival, Jailbreak, etc., etc. And of course, classic TF2 pubs, from 24/7 2 Fort to those with custom map rotations, all with tweaks to appeal to different niches. All of these servers showcase a vital part of the TF2 community, one that has been and continues to be essential to keeping the game fresh and alive, the mapping and modding communities. From the community-made game modes, mods like TF2C and Balance Mod, custom textures, HUDs, and hit sounds, modded TF2 has become integral to the game in many ways. The mapping community continues to be active today, hosting competitions, providing feedback on new maps, and helping mappers learn how to work with Hammer. They have also created several resource packs based around different themes for mappers to make use of. Many of the maps in TF2 were created by community mappers, most of which are better balanced than Valve's own maps. Servers run and moderated by players provide others with the opportunity to seek out community. This is an obvious fact. I've made some good friends through community servers, and many others have as well. These friendships help keep TF2 going, as well as the community projects that facilitate these places where bonds can be made. To this day, these servers act as pubs where you can meet friends, play with and talk to, and seek ways to engage with and help grow TF2's sub-communities. Outside of the game, TF2's many content creators have been important to not just the game's longevity on the whole, but also to the different communities within the game. From content covering the competitive scene to the trading community to different classes and subclasses, TF2 has a large number of content creators who cover all sorts of different niches. Even though some have moved on from the community, others remain, and more come to the scene. I think the dedication of TF2's creators and the strength of its community can be best represented by the Team Fabulous 2 Reanimated project. For those unaware, Team Fabulous 2 is a Gmon Machinima animation created by the late and great Colin Wyckoff, also known by his channel name, Kitty0706, who passed away from a 3-year battle with leukemia in 2015. I, like many others, grew up on his videos and unique sense of humor, and the reanimation of what many consider to be his magnum opus was quite an emotional sight to see. Beginning on January 10th and releasing on July 6th, the animation collab saw over 100 artists coming together to contribute their part to it. The project was done to honor Colin and his work, but also as a charity event, raising awareness and money to research leukemia. Over $22,000 was raised by the end of the campaign for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This collaboration, I think, perfectly illustrates the passion of TF2's community and how those with that passion are also kind and generous individuals. All of these creators were in some way inspired by Colin's creation, and came together to dedicate their own art to him, while also raising money for a cause which seeks to help others who deal with what Colin dealt with. It shows that, even in TF2's twilight years, this community is still capable of coming together to create grand projects and help important causes. And this project isn't just an isolated incident of TF2's efforts to promote charities and other causes. There have been others, the biggest one being Tip of the Hat. TOTH is an annual live-streamed charity event that has been held every year since 2013 through 2019 that raises money for the organization Camp One Step. Started by the competitive community, it has seen players and community members from various circles participate in and help run the event, featuring pubs, jumper showcases, unique competitive matches, and SFM videos. The event is proof that different parts of the TF2 community, with their various talents and interests, can come together for a greater cause, and to great effect. Last year alone, they raised over $190,000. A very recent example of the TF2's capacity for charitable efforts is the Yomps Family Fundraiser Tournament. Justin Yomps Wilpa was a competitive NA player who passed away on July 17th this year. He was regarded as one of the best players in the game, being a 2-time international LAN and 6-time NA champion, and a friend to many. The 2-day tournament saw 104 teams from all skill levels participate, and over $25,000 was raised for Justin's family. In case I haven't stressed this point enough, these numerous examples show that the TF2 community is capable of a great deal of good, and that this good keeps us together and keeps us playing the game. This is what our community can be, one that has a real impact and one that brings people together. I've come to enjoy just about every aspect of TF2 and its community on some level. It's why I've poured all this time into talking about it. I find the game and the people who contribute to it to be quite beautiful and quite unique. From getting hooked on the game from conspiracies about Pyro's identity, to experiencing the crazy but rewarding gameplay of TF2 almost 8 years ago, to discovering community servers, content creators, learning about competitive through the I-49 Fragmentary, becoming addicted to unboxing for a brief period, let's not talk about that, and more. I mean, TF2 has so many different things to offer people. Few games can tout having such a dedicated and diverse set of contributors and subcommunities like TF2. It's a special case, and we can definitely see why it is. TF2 has been a big part of my life as I've grown up and experienced whatever pain and fear life has brought me. And truth be told, yes, that could have been any other game that I grew up with. But TF2 was the one that took that role in my life, and I do believe it's for the same reason that the game continues to grow and hold on to its player base and community. Because TF2 is like a timeless masterpiece, or the greatest game of all time, or is diversely complex, or, well, yeah, you get the idea.